What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another agent interview. I have one of the best students that I've ever been able to coach and be in relationship with. In fact, so much so that our guest today is a coach for our For Sale by Owner training program as well. So, Rob St. John, I appreciate you taking the time to pour into other agents' business, right? So as I was getting started, you know, all these agents watch these interviews, and I think you'll be able to inspire other agents watching this with your story. So thanks for being here. Thanks for taking some time.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to be here, coming to you live from the dark bat cave at home, and ready to talk about this thing. I'm excited to chat, and if any one person can take any small piece of info from this and run with it, I'm super excited.
Awesome, dude. So take a minute to kind of walk us through, you know, how you got to where you're at today, a little bit about your real estate career, and catch us up to present day.
Yeah. So mine's kind of an interesting story. I was probably did some things in my career long before I should have. What I mean by that is very early in my career. I've been in real estate now for March was 6 years. And inside of my first year, before completing my first full year, I actually partnered up with somebody, and we started doing what we thought was building a team. What it came down to is we didn't have a clue as to what we were doing, to be perfectly frank. So much so we were able to do that for 4 years and bring on people, spend a ton of money, lots of tools, lots of shiny object stuff, lots of, and just were not profitable. Got to a point where my business partner and I separated ways a couple of years ago, and found myself planted back on another team. At this point was an expansion team that existed in several cities all over the country. And I was basically running a region, this region. I'm in Louisville, Kentucky, and I was running kind of the Ohio Valley region for her. And again, more focused on everything except production. Now, inside of that, I have been a student of sales and lead generation. If there's a course or a program out there that talked about being a prospector or about generating business, chances are I have taken it. So I've really bought into this idea of scripting and knowing how to talk to people and all that. Over the last 2 years is really for the first time in my career where I'm 100% me. Like every decision is solely on me. Everything's happening with me. And so it's really, I feel like I kind of liken what I've taken from our For Sale by Owner program to I'm going back to playing Little League with the knowledge of a major leaguer. Like I just, it's really cool. You know, I beat myself up over the first bunch of years inside of the business and came across you, Brandon, through a podcast I was listening to, and then wound up inside the program and really just kind of loved everything about it, the very service-based approach. So today, here I am. I'm affiliated with eXp Realty, operating my business as myself, as my brand, building and growing that team in a way that makes sense to me. So it's kind of there's a whole lot of empty pieces inside of that story, but at the end of the day, I went from jumping into something long before I should have to now I'm actually, for the first time, really building a business that makes a lot of sense, using a program, using a system that allows me to truly be of service to people first, which is really exciting.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think that's really a good place actually to start today's interview is, you know, you mentioned all these other coaching programs and all these different courses. You know, what attracted you to what we teach in the program, in the For Sale by Owner program today? Because we call it FSBO domination, but you constantly remind our students, and you constantly remind me that this methodology, right, this whole reverse and Socratic selling, you're using it across your entire business. So what was different about this program versus everything else that's being taught out there in the industry?
You know, first and foremost, it's being of service first, which a lot of programs I feel like will make that claim, you know, where we want to be of service. as long as you allow me to come over and list your home. Like that's, there's always that little asterisk next to that, right? Like that's, and in addition, the methodology, even right from the jump of that first contact, that first call that we make, is based in getting in alignment, in integrity, and an alignment with that potential seller. It's not about, overcoming objections. That term has gotten to a point where it just drives me crazy. There is zero reason for me to overcome anything if that's how you feel. That's, my thought process is no better than yours. It's no different than yours. It's just that the two versions of me, the before FSBO domination me would call knowing I was about to go to war. Every phone call that was picked up, I was going to war. I was gonna, do what you can to make them realize they're being foolish. This is never going to work, and this and that. And it's a broken mindset, and remind them how much they're losing, and that part always felt like a battle. Like there was and internally a ton of stress, and it was just it doesn't shock me that so few real estate agents actually spend the time they should be prospecting, because it's such a stressful thing to do in the way they're taught. Fast forward to today, going through the program, learning from Brandon, learning from you, Brandon, and even improving myself by teaching the program. It is so much easier and more fun to just pick up the phone and talk to people now.
Because so someone that's going to be watching this a year from now, because I think a lot of people come to us excited about that thing because we teach the exact opposite of what everybody else is teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And I constantly get people joining the program saying, I joined because it's more my style. It makes more sense. Mm-hmm. So what do you mean? Give us how is it different, and how do we approach people that makes prospecting much more enjoyable, much less stressful? It's better for the consumer. We're able to connect with more people. Walk us through that.
Well, I think just using that first call as an example is the best way to do that. On that first call, again, I'll go back to the before FSBO domination version of me. It's, hey, Brandon, it's Rob. Look, I saw your home come on the market, and I know you're selling it on your own. Listen, let me ask you, if I could help you put more money in your pocket by letting me list it and take care of it for you than you could on your own, would you be willing to hear what I had to say?
No.
No. Absolutely. And then, okay, cool. Now it's okay. Time to overcome objections and make this person feel foolish for saying no.
Right.
So we go into these things that it's really a battle, and gosh, well, you must have a good reason for feeling that way. Do you mind if I ask what it is? Well, I want to save commission.
Right.
Awesome. Totally get that. Let me ask you if you knew that by saving the commission, you were actually spending more money, and you go down this path of argument almost like instead of just understanding that when somebody makes the decision to put the home on the market on their own, I'm of the firm belief that any human being is doing the best they can with the information they have. That's all there is to it. And that person, for whatever reason, feels they're doing the right thing. The other thing that I look at is agents are taught to assume that every person that picks up the phone is somebody they really want to list with. They want to work with that person if they pick up the phone. And so by coming at this from a service mindset of, hey, so now we'll go into the FSBO domination version of me. It's, hey, look, I know you're selling the home on your own. I get it. I think you should. Just curious if you would be open to, the idea of me at least bringing a buyer to you.
Sure.
I want to be of help in some fashion. And that's the thing, there are people who will watch this video, who will look at the program, who will look at that first call script and go, oh, that's just your foot in the door.
Right.
That's not true. The fact is, it is a service. As real estate agents, we have a couple of obligations. Number one, we have an obligation to know what's out there as far as inventory, as far as people who want to sell, as far as all of that. We have an obligation to know that, especially in a time like we're in right now when there is such a tight, bit of inventory. The other obligation we have is to those buyers that we meet on a daily basis who are looking for something, So yes, my goal is to first actually see the home and to potentially bring a buyer if in fact I've got one and they're ready to go.
Yeah, and let me just add something to that, because you're right. I think there's a lot of confusion around this whole FSBO preview and your switch. No, it's not about that at all, right? We're asking the question in that, and I don't want to get too far down this, but because this is all about you today. But
no worries.
The whole point about that first call is seeing if the person is open to that idea, because if they're open to that idea, then they're potentially a good fit for what it is that we do in the program, what it is that we teach. And there's 3 questions that we always ask.
Yep.
And that's just one of the questions that we ask, right? So, really what we're talking about, the methodology is this graph that I always draw for people, right? You've got a for sale by owner's likelihood to list, you've got time, and that goes up over time, right? And what we teach is we have that relationship that when the seller makes the decision on their own that they can't sell this thing, this is where you and I get these come list me calls, and it makes it so much easier to do business. So you've been learning this new methodology of reverse selling, connecting, Socratic selling by questions. You've been with me now for 5.5 months or so.
Yep.
Walk us through kind of the results, right? I think off air, I think that for the small amount that I think we charge people to get into the program, I think you got a pretty good, decent return on that. Yeah. Am I right?
So yeah, absolutely. So direct results, volume wise, I've done in that time frame, just shy of $1 million in business, which, depending on the market, somebody who we've got students in the California market who are going to hear that and go, wow, you sold at home. Okay.
So true.
No, folks, I'm in Louisville, Kentucky. Average sales price of $170,000.
Exactly.
Right? So, to me, that's a win over that period of time. What I look at is, and this can apply, I feel like, to any market, is your average sales, like how sustainable is your business, or how what's the level at which your business is performing. And to me, that comes down to average sales prices and gross commissions. And what I've seen, you and I were just talking about this, is in the 5 months, a $39,000 increase in my average sold listing price. That's 17% increase from where I was in that short amount of time.
Makes
so
sense.
Naturally, with a 17% increase in the price, there's a 17% increase in my own income as well. So
which was what, $25,000 increase in revenue in that same period of time.
Yep.
Wow.
So take that, start compounding it over time of building skill sets, building, relationships, because inside of all of this other for sale by owner business that's happening now, referral starts happening. Now, people who I talk to who, had started the process as a for sale by owner, now they become case studies. It makes everything becomes less stressful. It becomes more fun. And it just all gets easier with a higher return. So yeah, absolutely. For the small amount that it costs to get into this program, there's absolutely a return. The way I look at anything inside of my business is I want to see at least a 4X return.
Okay.
That's a no-brainer to me.
Cool.
Inside of what we're doing here.
So let's talk about for sale by owners for just a second. I think that the other thing that I'm trying to do with this program, you and I together, is, all these agents getting into the business or been in it for a long time, there's all these different things on how you can grow a real estate business. Mm-hmm. And I would say that a large portion of the real estate agent community across North America, well, across the world, are challenged with not being able to sleep at night, Rob, because they don't know where their next deal's coming from. Yeah. And their pain is coming from a promise that they've made to their spouse or their family, maybe when they quit that corporate job making 80, 90, 100, 120,000 a year, where they told everybody, hey, I can go and do this, but they can't sleep. They're so stressed out. They're living deal to deal, paycheck to paycheck. When it comes to for sale by owners, that's why I like them so much, because it puts a level of consistency and predictability based on our methodology.
Yep.
Can any agent do this? Can any agent just jump in and learn what we're doing and get success right away?
Brandon, that's probably, and you and I talked a little bit about this, the most attractive thing to working for sale by owners is there is zero barrier to entry. They exist in every single market, up, down, sideways, doesn't matter locale. They're going to be there. The possibilities of working for sale by owners is a zero cost, zero barrier of entry. You can spend a little bit of money and make it a little easier. However, if I'm a brand new agent just starting out, I can dive into Zillow, right? I get all the for sale by owners I need. It doesn't cost me a thing. I just go in there like any consumer and make myself aware of new for sale by owner properties inside of my market. Mm-hmm. I can use Craigslist. People are using Craigslist still to put their homes out there, to sell. I can jump into Craigslist, surf through some ads, and start calling people. I can spend very little money if I want to have all that data kind of aggregated for me. I use a source that I'm spending $30 a month, and I get daily a CSV file sent to my email that's on average anywhere from 7 to 10 new for sale by owners every day right now.
And what are you using for that?
FSBOhotsheet.com.
Awesome. No, that's great.
Yeah, it's a great system. And then I, of course, I'm one for efficiency, so I use a power dialer. I load everything into Mojo Dialer and use the triple line dialer and jump on there and do that. So, the barrier to entry to getting into for sale by owners is so small. Again, for $30 a month, I can get all the data aggregated, or I can do a little bit of extra work and dig through Zillow and Craigslist myself.
Do you think, Rob, that any agent really in the world that's just gone through these ups and downs,
mm-hmm.
Maybe they're on the edge of saying, I don't know if I can do this, or they've been doing it for a long time, they're struggling. Do you think they could jump into this and get them in a situation where they could start closing 2-3 houses a month pretty
easily? If it's absolutely, I've just hit a stride right now where I'll start putting two to three under contract, which will translate into 2 to 3, 4 a month that are closing. Right. So I'm just now personally hitting that stride. And it makes sense, right? We're coming up into 6 months. Inside of 6 months of consistently doing anything and really focusing on a singular task and not trying to, chase after every talking house sign and newest, greatest marketing plan, done for you lead generation program that exists. If you focus on the things that actually work, where you're putting your effort into it, then you're going to see those results. All this stuff works. Everything out there works. Everything under the sun has a way of working. It comes down to the barrier of entry, the investment of time versus investment of money, and your own energy. That's what I love about the process of even starting with for sale by owners. And we've already mentioned that the way we teach works across all seller leads. So regardless of what you're generating, this is going to work. But the process of working for sale by owners is, and here's the thing, I could be told that my family and I, for whatever reason, they're closing the state of Kentucky and we all have to move out. And I could be dropped into Missouri or where, and I will start this process, and inside of a month to 2 months, I will be up and running and see my business growing anywhere I go. So that's again, the idea of for sale by owners allows you to either restart your business. You mentioned that agent who maybe has been doing it a while and they're feeling that burnout or boredom. So you can kind of restart your business with a very sustainable process. You can jumpstart your business if you're new, or you can stop stressing over spending thousands of dollars a month to buy leads. So there's just just an absolute litany of things that this benefits anybody inside of this business.
Cool. So let me kind of change gears a little bit, and we can go all day on this stuff. But what do you say to the agent when we talk about for sale by owner conversion? What do you say to the agent that says, well, all that stuff, Rob, sounds great, but I'm only getting 2-3 FSBOs a day in my market. What they're not thinking about is that's 100 FSBOs a month. And we only need our conversion funnel, the way that it's built, we're not going after all of them.
No.
Agents that are, I called some for sale by owners one time, and it didn't go. That I used your script and it didn't really work. What would you say to somebody like that?
It's time on task over time. Number one, if the script didn't work, there's something inside of how you're presenting it and everything else. It's also, let's be honest, like you said, you're not going to want to go out and see every single home that's out there that is available for you to go see. One thing I teach people is once they get to a point where they're comfortable setting up these previews and going on previews, cool. Now we're going to play a game called Replace the Appointment. You're going to set an appointment, and then from there, you're going to do everything you can to replace that one with a better one. And it's a fun game to get into playing, So yeah, that's the beauty of what we do is it's all based in choice. We have the opportunity to work with whomever we choose. And, let's be honest, if you're getting 2 or 3 a day, and you can set one preview appointment a day, put yourself in, you take a day off during the week or whatever, you're out on 5 or 6 appointments a week. And of those 5 or 6 a week, let's say even half of them, let's say you go on 6 and you got 3 of them that fall into your funnel every week.
Right.
Holy smokes. Now we're up to, 12 new follow-up opportunities inside of a month. And as an individual agent, I don't see too many people wanting to take 12 listings a month because you're either going to start shaving your head or you're going to pull what hair is up there out because it's going to drive you crazy. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So, it's going to come down to growing your business in a controlled and sustainable manner. So for a lot of people, I think that, I personally think that it makes sense for people, especially as they start getting comfortable. You don't want, you and I talked, Brandon, there was one point I set 7 or 8 previews in a week, and we were like, okay, wait a minute, let's pump the brakes a minute. Let's think about who we're going out to talk to. So that's a big part of it, is starting to understand your avatar, your ideal client, and who you most effectively work with.
Makes sense. You're right. I would agree with you. 2 to 3 for sale by owners a day is too many for one agent to handle. Mm-hmm. They just haven't seen it compound yet. They haven't they haven't seen the funnel, what it looks like over 30, 60, 90 days yet. Yep. So they make that judgment off of one day worth of FSBOs, one call, one meeting, right? Just like anything else. So, all right, let me change gears and talk about, you've been doing a lot of things. You've had a lot of success in this business, going back and looking at everything. What kind of recommendations would you give maybe someone new starting in the business that has huge goals? They just don't have the path, right? Maybe they work at a company where they don't have any coaching. They don't have any leadership. They're not getting that mentorship that they're looking for. Go back to the old Rob St. John when you used to have a bunch of hair and all that.
Yeah.
When you first started in the business. What advice would you give new people out there?
Yeah. Honestly, it's look for simplicity is the most amazing thing that you can promise to yourself. It's so finding simplicity in day-to-day operation of your business, starting first with your lead generation, I think is key. And so for me, this for sale by owner system that we've created is incredibly simple. There's no stress behind the calls. They're very friendly. They're service oriented. We're all told as real estate agents, we have to have a servant's heart. And that's super important. And that's where this system, this way of operating allows you to operate inside of that service mentality. So I would say straight up and down, make the investment into this program and give it a shot. Give it the opportunity and do the work. That's the thing there's no silver bullet. There's a lot of programs out there being sold as, here's, not even necessarily programs. Pay us a bunch of money and we'll send a bunch of leads to your inbox. Like, there's so much of that available inside of our industry that we have created places like Zillow because of that. We have created the opportunity for a guy like Jeff Bezos of Amazon to look at potentially getting into the real estate business. So what we have to do is focus on the most simple and sustainable habits that can be created, which is simply picking up the phone and talking to somebody. That's it. It's all there is to it. And cool. So I have that habit. I pick up the phone now. Now, what do I say? Right. And that's where you get into like the training that we offer, that allows somebody to really learn an incredibly simple and sustainable system to keep your pipeline full and keep business kind of churning at the right rate.
Cool. So last thing I want to end with today is, you know, I'm not with EXP, but I think that people that are joining your EXP team, you know, have a lot to get from you because you could teach them these things, right? So if there's an agent out there either with EXP or thinking about going to EXP and they want to have a conversation with you, you know, how do they get a hold of you? How do they learn more about that? You know, what would they do?
Yeah. So super easy. Either reach out to me on, if you're a social media kind of person, Facebook message me is super easy. I really like somebody to call or text my cell phone. It's 502-553-3277, or you can email me at rob@omnipresenthomes.com. Yeah. The neat thing is, like, as far as all that goes, like the last thing I'm going to do is recruit anybody. I do love to answer questions, and I do love to be very straight up and down honest with people. So, and yeah, there's definitely benefits inside of my EXP team on top of, you know, what I'm going to offer you as far as helping you understand how to prospect to and build your for sale by owner business. There's a lot of other stuff that goes along with it with the team inside of which I'm affiliated. There's a lot of additional training and opportunities we can get you connected with.
Awesome, dude. So as we end this interview, you know, what's your future look like? I mean, where do you want to be? What do you want to accomplish?
Yeah.
What does it look like?
So for me, I've got a very clear vision of what the team looks like. I'm not one of these guys who wants to be on stage talking about my 35 agent team that does, you know, 1,500 deals a year. That's just not my thing. I'm not into that kind of volume. But at the end of the day, I do intend to grow a business where it's myself, a showing agent, administrative person, transaction person, and a marketing coordinator. So, you know, a really effective business that allows me to do things like continue to coach and grow other agents, you know, being a big part of growing this for sale by owner domination program that is just to know. The simplest way I can put it is to turn 5 other agents into millionaires before I turn 50. So, you know, that's kind of, you know, the overarching goal is to do that. And inside of that, really just produce to allow my family to do whatever it is that they like to do.
Rob, thank you so much, man. You continue to inspire me. You continue to push me to want to be better and grow. And so just, I will speak for every agent that will watch this in the future. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, man. Happy to spend the time.
All right, brother. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Brandon.